there's a lot of negativity that surrounds Yu-Gi-Oh! People love to complain about the best decks or the recent tournament results or the recent ban list or any number of things, and especially when it comes to Yu-Gi tubing, a lot of videos that are made are pretty negative, or at the very least there are plenty of comments on the video that are fairly negative. So today, because it is Thanksgiving to anyone that's in the United States at least, I wanted to make a video talking about the positive things that I am thankful for in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because all of us play this game still. We might complain about certain aspects of it, but at the end of the day, most of us that are watching these types of videos at least are still going back to this game, and here's some things that I'm thankful for, some things that make me want to stay in the game. First of all, I am very, very thankful for the recent ban list. Now, I'm not going to call it an emergency ban list, but it was a ban list that hit 4 cards that were really, really annoying. When I went to YCS Dallas last month, I felt pretty disappointed at the state of the metagame. I don't mind decks like Zodiacs that are quote-unquote tier 0 when you can at least play against them and have a chance against them, but playing against Spirals felt nearly impossible unless you happen to draw the Droll and Lockbird, and even then sometimes they could still open crazy boards with a card like Machine Duplication. So I'm very, very happy about the recent ban list. I felt that it really did fix a whole bunch of issues. Now I know some people might look at YCS San Diego and say, but Doug, Spiral still took over 50% of the top 32. There always has to be a best deck. The competitive players, the ones that want to top events, are always going to find the best deck. There's almost never going to be an open season format where everything is viable. Something has to take the largest percentage of the top cut. That's just how games work. There's always going to be a best character. There's always going to be best strategy. And yes, there are ways to beat that strategy, which is why we saw only about 50% of the top 32 being Spirals. But I am much more happy playing against Spirals now than I was at YCS Dallas. At YCS Dallas, the deck seemed nearly unbeatable. Pretty much no matter what hand they opened, it was extremely playable. And cards like Set Rotation, which I liked at first, but then realized that they were just very unhealthy because they just completely stopped you from playing the game. Now we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about our opponent machine duplicationing us even after we open the Droll and Lockbird or open the Ash Blossom. And I just think the game, in general, was in a much healthier spot. So thank you, Konami, for making a ban list that's actually really good. And I think the majority of people were pretty excited about the ban list, and I think it's paid off a lot. Next, I am very thankful for Totally Awesome for letting me play a rogue deck in this Spiral format and in last format as well. Totally Awesome is a very good card, and it's also funny because I can summon a Totally Awesome with no back row and no other cards in my hand, and my opponent will still roll their eyes. They'll still be very angry at Totally Awesome. People just hate playing against Totally Awesome, and when you're playing Frog Paleozoics, you realize Totally Awesome doesn't win every single game, but I do love Toad because it allows me to play a rogue deck. I don't know what I would be playing if frogs weren't a thing. I don't think I'd play a deck like Trickstars, and Pendulum Editions don't really appeal to me, so I'd probably be playing something pretty janky that wouldn't get nearly as many wins as I've been able to accumulate with Frog Paleozoics, and that's all because of Totally Awesome locking down my opponent's cards, and I just love that card so much. I love cards that you can summon, and the longer they stay on the field, the more momentum you get. If a Toad effect resolves twice, that being the standby effect resolving twice, you almost instantaneously win that game, and I love playing with frogs, I love playing with Paleozoics, but I wouldn't be able to do it without a card like Totally Awesome existing. Next, I always have to shout out my favorite card in the game, Brilliant Fusion, for letting me play so many crazy decks that I never would have gotten the opportunity to without a card like Brilliant Fusion. You know, we just talked about the Gem Knight Link monster, and that brings me back to when I first bought my playset of Brilliant Fusion. I bought them for like less than $1 each before anyone was really playing them, and I had so much fun with them in Gem Knights, and then I just experimented with them in pretty much every deck imaginable. And I know it's kind of a meme. I know it's easy to make fun of me for being so attached to one card, and every time I talk about Brilliant Fusion, people say, wow, Doug, I think you've said enough about this card. But it's really the card that has really made me excited about Yu-Gi-Oh! At almost any time. Other card games I play, I mean, I like them. I play Hearthstone quite regularly, but there's no cards like Brilliant Fusion that really get me excited in the same way. There's nothing that I really always want to try to fit into a deck and make work in so many different applications, But Brilliant Fusion's always been there for me. It's such a good card. You can just play it in nearly anything. I've played it in nearly anything, and it's so much fun. And yeah, there's going to be those losses where you draw the Garnet, but at the end of the day, if there's going to be a card that I'm always happy to draw, it's going to be Brilliant Fusion. So thank you to Konami for making such a great card. I do like playing it in every deck. Also, I'm thankful for my playtesting friends for not only helping me stop playing bad cards, but also hearing me out when I have rogue ideas. Many of my playtesting friends just play meta all the time, which is perfectly fine. I don't really care. But that's really helpful for me because that means I can actually test all of my garbage strategies against theirs to figure out if they're actually good or not. A good example of this is that I wasn't feeling super confident about the Volcanic Paleozoic deck that I recently profiled. I knew it would be good, but I didn't think it'd be, like, fantastic. But I've been testing it the last couple weeks here, ever since I uploaded that deck profile, and man, the deck is actually like a real force to be reckoned with, and I think that's really cool, and it's something that totally caught me by surprise, and the only way that I was able to come to that conclusion was by playtesting a lot with my friends. And I think that one of the great things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the people that you meet. A lot of people that don't even really love the game anymore stick with it just because they've met so many friends in it, and they'll gladly go to a regional qualifier with a really crappy deck just to kind of chill out with their friends. And also to that, I'm thankful for Yu-Gi-Oh! For letting me travel. There's no other scenario where I would have traveled nearly as much as I have in my life, especially for someone of my age. I think we take that for granted a lot, but not many people that are like in their 20s are driving all over the country to go to events and stuff. That just doesn't happen, and I sometimes forget that until I start talking to other students at my college and realize that they don't really go anywhere besides like college and then when they go back home. And yeah, maybe they take like a once a year trip with their family, but if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player and you're a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player, you're traveling all the time just to places that I never would have went. I mean, I've been to Texas and Tennessee, and I've been to Chicago more times than I can even count at this point, and all these crazy places that I just never would have had the opportunity to go to. And yes, it's not that I don't take vacations, but Yu-Gi-Oh events are something different, and you don't always get to see like the entire city. You don't get to experience like how it feels like in that city, but you do get to be there. You do get to see the climate, how people look, how people walk, how people talk, and it's just been really exciting. It's definitely opened up my eyes to a lot of different ways of life, and I have to thank Yu-Gi-Oh for that because there'd be no other circumstance where I would have traveled as much in my life. Also, I am thankful for my Yu-Gi-Tubing friends, people like John and Simo and Farfa and Nim Nim and all these other people that I'm probably forgetting their names because there's just too many of them to list. I'm thankful for them being there for me when I have questions about how I should title videos or what some ideas for videos should be, but I'm also thankful because they're just good people. I love that about Yu-Gi-Tubing. Most of the Yu-Gi-Tubers, even if they have like a channel you don't necessarily agree with, most of us are just normal people that have all sort of gotten a stroke of luck to be successful, well, at least mildly successful on YouTubing. And I think that's something that not a lot of people remember, is that we are just real people. You know, when we were at YCS Dallas and Alex, John, and I were walking around, a lot of people came up to us and like apologized for wanting to ask us questions about Yu-Gi-Tubing, and we're just normal guys. Yeah, I mean, it's very different when it's just John, Alex, and I hanging out at YCS Dallas, like at John's house and like talking about Yu-Gi-Tubing. It's very different there than it is like at an event, because it almost feels like we're public figures when we're at the events, but we're really just normal people. And I think that's cool. I think it's very humbling to know that we're not just like these big celebrities. And I know some of you will probably hear that and say, well, I never thought of you like that. But a lot of people do for one reason or another. And we do have pretty large fan bases, so it's understandable. But I'm thankful for the Yu-Gi-Tubing friends for keeping me grounded and helping me get to the point where I am. Which brings me to my last point here. I'm very thankful for my job, really. The past 2 months, which has been the time that I quit my retail job, have been insane. I have way more money than I know what to do with, which I'm really going to invest into like a computer and a good desk and all this crazy stuff that I'll talk about in a future video. But I've just been so successful, and I really have you guys to thank for that. If no one was watching these videos, I would not be making any money. And if you just look at like the views my videos are getting, it's just so exciting. Like even still, I'm usually a little weary when I upload a video. I'm just like, well, what if no one clicks on this one? And that's always going to be in the back of my head. That's just who I am. But in general, general, like, I can look at the numbers and, like, it's just so exciting to see the growth constantly happening, especially when I know that there's so many other channels that they're not able to do that anymore. They haven't found their niche, really, or they lost it, or they lost their fan base. And I'm really not trying to do that. I'm trying to just grind it out every day. You know, some days I wake up and I'm just like, I don't really feel like making a video, but then I go to my recent uploads, I'm just like, you know what, people like when I upload stuff, so I'm just gonna keep uploading stuff. So the fact that I can have even a tiny impact on people's daily lives is just really crazy to me. I'm going to talk about this in a future video as well, because we're almost at 20k subscribers. I'm going to have a big video for that. But just know that the fact that I make any difference, even a small amount in your guys' lives, means a lot to me, more than you guys will ever know. I think everyone just wants to be heard, and I somehow have gotten this job where people want to hear me, and that's just really weird and cool. I don't know. But that's what I'm thankful for. Please let me know in the comment section what you guys are thankful for in relation to Yu-Gi-Oh! We're going to spread some positivity in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World, and have a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate that. If not, just have a great normal Thursday. But I will see you guys later. Bye.